Hey everyone! Are you guys ready for a transformation? Put down in the comments, yes I am. Now welcome to my show, Transformation Time. Every Thursday I host an episode of either Transformation Time or REI Behind the Scenes. My name is Daniel Lizarazo and today's guest speaker is Glenda Kroll. Now, before we get started, I want to share some exciting news with you. I have a social networking platform for the real estate investing industry. So if you are an investor or looking to be one, if you are a mentor, if you are a professional, then you want to be a part of this platform. It will transform the way you work. And you want to check it out. To check it out, go to realestateinvestorfam.com. Check out all the amazing features it has. Not only can you create amazing profiles, but you can also see the public calendar, see what's going on over there. You can be a part of a supportive community. There is so much going on over there. Go check it out. Now back to the show. On Transformation Time, our guest speakers are here to help you by sharing their personal development journeys and the mindset shifts that they have gone through to get to where they are now. So if you guys are ready to bring on Glenda, let's send her some thumbs up, some fire, and let's get her on the stage. I can see she just came on, so I'm just going to invite her in. And we can get started. One second. And Glenda, I have a feeling you are on your computer. This needs to be done on a phone because I can't request you to join. Yeah, it looks like you're on your phone. Let me give you a minute. I'm going to give you a minute, Glenda, to just get yourself set up on your phone. Because Instagram only allows lives on the phone, and we will get started. So hopefully, Glenda, send me a thumbs up and to let me know that you got my message, or hopefully you're already back on again. And while we wait though, tell me, have you ever felt yourself going through a transition and you've seen big changes happening within you? What were those feelings like? I would love to hear what it was like. It's always great to have inspiration. That is the point of the show, is to inspire others to be able to do big things, because we're all normal people trying to get things done. And we want to have people that we can realize that, okay. Sorry, Glenda. I think I have to actually make the request. I don't know now. It's way too work. We may have to start this again. Sorry, guys, because for some reason Instagram doesn't work. Let's see. When the other person requests. But yeah, a transformation is. Oh, I think we got you on. Perfect. Hey, Glenda, how are you?
I'm well, thank you. How are you doing?
Great. Great. Thank you so much for coming on. I think it'll be so much fun to hear about your journey and to even hear about your future, what big things you'll be doing next and what transformations you're doing now. So before we get started, let's just start with telling the viewers a little bit about yourself. What's your experience in the real estate investing world and the entrepreneurial world? And hopefully it seems like it froze for a little bit. Oh, there you are. Did you hear my question or did it freeze in the middle?
Yeah, you froze. So let's try
Okay, so I was
again.
just
We're
saying,
up and we're going
okay,
now.
perfect. So I was just asking now, let's just tell the viewers a little bit about yourself as a real estate investor, as an entrepreneur. Just give a little synopsis.
Well, I've lived a life of many lives, and I've learned a lot thrown away. I've been in very many industries, from corporate Canada to self-employment, entrepreneurship. I've done a lot. So through all of that, there have been so many incredible lessons. And, as they say, as you grow from all of these things, you do become wiser. And that's what life has taught me. And then there was a point where it was time to sort of take on and begin my own journey of building myself. And that's when I got really into real estate.
That's amazing. And so let's get started. Like you said, and I mean, we spoke in the past. You have such an amazing journey. You've had, like you said, so many experiences. So I know you have a lot to teach us. What would be, what is the biggest pivoting point, the biggest learning experience for you that you've had so far that was
Oh
the
my
most
God.
impactful?
Well, life has been very impactful for me. I guess the biggest learning expenses experience that I've had is from all the knockdowns, and I've had quite a few. It's the resilience to keep on going, and that's what gave me the edge of life to actually start coaching. It's because I have seen through the years of so many people that have been knocked down in life, and they don't have the forthwith to get themselves back up and going no matter what. And that is something that is just so important, because instead of sitting there and feeling sorry for yourself, I'm not one to do that. I'm one of those type of coaches. I'm a kick-ass type of coach. You go through something, you feel the hurt, you feel the rest of it, and then get up and now let's move forward. Let's figure out what you can do with yourself from that. And I've done that so many times throughout my life. So, when something hits you, like I was in a 14-year relationship, and that relationship also was a business relationship, and that kind of ended suddenly when I discovered some things, and my whole life changed. I was in an import-export business at that time. Doing Life had changed at that point because of 9/11 and so forth. But when the relationship, everything ended, I sort of ended up in a new place to live, and everything that I had was gone. And I had to reinvent myself, and I had to figure out. So it's what I do with people is let's step back and start looking at where your successes were. Where were your strong points? What did you make it through? Because some people look at that as a negative, and I look at it as a positive, because those are the keys to moving forward. And it was that taught me, years earlier, I worked for 12 years. I worked for Shell Canada, and I was in the marketing department. And that means marketing, for my section, it was the real estate department. Let me go back even a step before that. I was a paralegal, and that was part of my training. But I left that. I stayed in it for a short time. I didn't enjoy working for a lawyer and doing that. And part of my journey went in a few different directions. I traveled for a number of years for a retail firm and became a supervisor, and handled a lot of people and had to train and supervise stores and build up sales and so forth. And when the traveling got to me and I ended up leaving, I got a job with Shell Canada. So now I'm managing the Ontario markets. So that means every gas station and resource center that Shell Canada has in Canada or on Ontario came under my umbrella. And that meant rents, leases, mortgages, and so forth, staying there 14 years. So, but I didn't realize what that did for me until later when my life fell apart and I had to recreate myself. It was like looking back at my areas where I really achieved, I look back and real estate kept on coming up again. And it's when I started realizing how much wealth of information that I had inside of me. I kept saying, you know what, I got to do this, and I got to do something for me, because now I've built everybody else. I've built other people's businesses. And, it's great when you can build other people's businesses, but, at the end of the day, you got a paycheck to show for it. And that's it.
100%.
And
And I think it's great. A great point that you brought up also too is I feel like you brought up two great points actually that are great things for people to do. Is one, you were talking about basically even looking back into your past and seeing what amazing things you've done. Because I feel like we get very stuck in the grind of things in the day to day, and especially if we're going through problems, like you're saying, if we're going through problems, you maybe start getting a little bit negative about it. But if you look back, you like all the things that you've achieved, everything that you've done, and even what those learning experiences, like you said, from those bad experiences, like what came out of it. Because yes, some bad stuff happens, but to be honest, a lot more good things come out of it. You learn a lot, you become stronger in certain areas of your life. And so it's always great to have that to look back, because I also had a very similar scenario where I was just like stuck in the grind. Well, not Sarah's similar scenario, but in the sense of like where you just kind of get stuck in the grind and you're just like go, 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 or too busy, or too stressed. And someone like knocked it out of me, like, hey, what are you talking about? You've done nothing. It's like, look back at what you've done. You did this, that, that. And it was really that really made me sit back like, oh my God, I've done so much. I've learned so much. So I thought that was a great tip that I wanted to just re-highlight, because I think that is so important. And it helps us to move forward a lot, because when you like that take out the positives, it just makes you, I feel like it puts you in a better state to keep on moving forward and achieve those dreams and goals that you have.
Well, it also creates a different mindset. And let's touch on the fact of, and I know the word mindset is used just too much these days, and everybody just sort of tunes out when they hear that word. But it is so right, because no matter what I've gone throughout my life, the one thing that has always stayed constant in me is having that positive mindset, because I always believe there's something strange in me, no matter how much the struggle that I might be under. I will still believe at the end of the day, somehow I'm going to make it through, and somehow it's all going to work out.
Mm-hmm. I love that. And to add on, which I know you do this, is you have that positive mindset, but you implement, you put positive actions behind it, which is why you've been able to achieve so much and do so much in your life, is because you incorporate it too. It's the positive mind is so, so important to make us move forward and get the things that we want to get done, but also those positive steps and doing things in the right way that works best for you too.
Taking action is everything in life, right? You can learn all you want, and we all get onto this hamster wheel of learning. And hello, I've done it myself. So I'm not sitting back and criticizing. And I really do, for me, I coach and work from where I've come from and what I've lived through. So I'm just being real. But when we learn all the time, we don't really learn until we start to teach, and still we start to move forward in taking action. And even though that it's a scary scenario to move forward, and trust me, I've been there, I felt scared, but the whole idea is you move through no matter what. You take that, and here's the thing for people that are watching, the whole idea in life is, you know, we have to believe in ourselves, and I am very much intuition about feeling what your gut says and all the rest of it, and that's all of part of my coaching, what I do. But it's also, that you don't need to know all the steps, and the most important step that you need to know is that first step. And then everything else kinds of falls into place, and it happens every single time.
And I also love the point that you made, is that generally when we're saying things, because I've also felt this, had the same experience, I would have analysis paralysis to a very like crazy level. Like I was one of those people that needed to know everything and anything, to the point that I knew way more than I needed to in real estate, because I was just so crazy about it. But like you said, when we say things, for example, like don't get stuck in this, it's because we're talking about our own experiences, and we want to, like you said, we've learned these things about ourselves, and you can also, you just pick it out in someone. You just see them going through something, you're like, oh my God, I've been there. Let me impart a little bit of knowledge, let me just share. Like, don't get stuck in there. Sometimes, I mean, people still have to still go through it, but you still want to. Generally, when we're saying things, anyone, it's because we've gone through it. So we're not saying like because we're bringing people down. It's more like kind of like I've been there, like I've done the exact same thing, and
We
it's like
need
let
to
me
learn. Yeah.
help you pass that faster than I did.
But there's also something to say about our falls. And when you fall, you really do learn. And like I say, trust me, I'm not coming from a high level of a thing. I've had so many falls. For instance, I can tell you one of my horror stories that I went through is I got involved I was working on a property, and then I jumped into a second property. It was one of those deals that I just couldn't resist. And I jumped into it, and I was at the new part of working and investing, and I got connected up with somebody who was going to work with me as sort of partner up as a contractor, and I didn't have my finger on the trigger that whole time because I was also invested in another property. So wasn't there watching. Well, what ended up happening is I always had like things happen too fast. And when I was asking questions, again, my intuition was telling me I had to look deeper and further. And I don't know why, but I had this very nagging feeling. And I ended up um, having somebody, an outside person, come in, and because I just felt something was wrong, and I had them open up a wall that I felt because I felt something happened too fast, and it didn't seem right. And when I opened up a wall, it was the wall of horror because they didn't put a supporting beam in a place that needed to be a supporting beam because a wall got moved. And at that point in time, shocker, my whole mission in my life has always been to build a home that is safe and clean for families. That was my entire, dream in my life. And here was a property now that had my name on it, and it wasn't that. So I had to turn around, and I actually ripped out everything that he had done. I fired him, got rid of him, and I had to redo everything. So my numbers even climbed substantially. But, at the end of the day, it was a great learning, and,
And great foresight, right? Because like that, you didn't fully know that what the problem was, and you saw before something bad could have happened. And again, like I feel like a really great tip in that sense is like listening to your gut and checking things out because I've seen it actually happen to another investor where they had someone who was qualified, like they were a worker, they did do work, but they weren't into big jobs. So they didn't understand structural stuff. So someone tells them remove this wall, he would do it, but then you know the ramifications?
yeah.
No. And what happened? Actually the house caved in. And and he ran off because obviously he realized he screwed up, wasn't experienced enough for that type of job, but the poor investor, right? At least I feel like at least in that sense you were saved, you know?
Oh,
Like at
huge.
least the house didn't fall down because that just would have been an even bigger expense because you listened to your gut and thought like, let me double check something, let me do things. Because a lot of people think about saving that buck, oh, let me save the buck, oh, nothing's
Yeah,
wrong,
yeah,
like just let it be. But you don't know down the road, either you flip it, sell it, you're gonna get sued anyway, if it happens, or you go rent it out and again, you have that expense happening anyways at a bigger scale because the house caved in on you. And then there you're in the same boat. So it's just like whenever your gut tells you anything, it's like do a
yeah,
double check,
yeah.
and don't ignore it.
And it is so important because years ago I didn't pay attention to what my gut was telling me all the time, and we have to go. So there were a lot of lessons in that of first of all, only take on what you can actually be involved with, unless you have a partner who also you're on the same level and you both have that same amount of you're both into it at the same amount financially and everything as well. So if it's going to happen, it would happen to both of you. So you have that trust factor. But there are no real shortcuts.
Oh, 100%. And actually, I have a question for you because I was just thinking, I've gone through the same thing of that gut feeling and things going wrong for me, but luckily because I was experienced enough, I recovered really well from it because I had still some things like some measures in there to make sure things went well. But in my case, I had done a new partnership, my very first time doing a partnership. So I was very experienced in the real estate investing world. That part wasn't really the issue. But the partnership was same thing, gut feeling, something's wrong with this guy. Even though I checked him out, get that gut feeling, I ignored it. And then things things went awry. Basically, he started doing illegal things, which gave us the out to be like, you've done illegal things, you've breached basically contract and gone. So great, things were done in that sense well. But the thing is, curious on your opinion of how do you identify between fears, because we also have the irrational fears,
Yeah.
and then the gut, where I was like, for me, I was just like, am I just overreacting, because this is my first partnership and my mind is doing every single negative scenario possible. Do you have any tips on that scenario? Because it's funny, I think when you're also doing the first time at something, I feel like we probably have a hard time noticing, is it irrational fear? Is it our gut? What is it? And maybe we should just always, yeah, I don't know.
No, no, and I understand. My first property, I was fearful. Listen, even to make the decision to buy the first house, like I was in a mentorship program. I'm a one who believes in educating themselves, especially it was a large investment. I went in it and well, originally I was going to go in partnership with somebody who didn't carry their own side. So, financially, it was still my money that was in it. So it was like, okay, move on, move forward. And then I found myself that I'm in it on my own. And it's like, okay, well, I guess the universe is telling me this is yours, girl. So you got no choice. And, it's fearful. But so, the part is if you're educating yourself, you learn the most essential things. Like you buying yourself, let's say your first investment property. Now, I'm not talking about finding a home. That's another whole world of looking, but I'm talking about as investment is concerned. You're going to look for certain things. You're going to I look for places where there was shopping convenience, so I rented out. If there's schools around, what type of main thoroughfares were there? I also was looking because I knew that I wanted to change the property from a single family to a duplex. So I was looking for two entranceways so that I didn't have to start digging down, which I knew were going to cost me an extra, at that point, it was an extra $10,000. Now today it can be anywhere from $15,000 to $20,000 to put in a new entranceway. So I didn't want that cost. So those were some of my first things that I was actually looking for before I even would look at the property. So when you know that the things that you're looking for, like I always believe in, it's like going shopping, building yourself a shopping list. And when you're hitting off, then you can be, instead of saying, yeah, I'm fearful, but now you get past that fear because you've already checked off these points. You
That's
also
a
go
good point. Yes. And I think that's probably like what you said, like the reason why for me it didn't go as bad as I think it probably would have gone for people that had no experience in real estate is because I still have rules that I follow on how my investment properties go. And because of that, I think that, like you said, it helped me out. And I think let's talk about the positive side, like you're saying, of things. I'd love to hear your learning experience. I'll just share mine quickly is I, from that time, I learned so much about what I look for in a partner that partners thereafter, I have found very good partnerships. That doesn't mean we don't fight and we don't do this, but I can tell you that we found good partnerships where we can get past it, like that. Like an argument happens, it gets resolved. We teamwork it the best. I love it when we've had these times where like we're having a problem happening and people are just like, go, go, go. We don't even have a time to fight. It's just like, okay, I'm going to talk to this person because this needs to be done. I'm going to go do this because this needs to be done. Like everyone just goes in like crisis. Let's just, let's avert this crisis. Let's figure it out. So it's just like that. Like I think because of that scenario that happened, it was hard. It was stressful. I went through a lot of mental anxiety, actually. It was like I went through a pretty bad depression. But coming out of it, I learned exactly what I look for in a partnership, and it's been very helpful since now. I've been very good at finding good team members.
It's really researching, like, it's like everything else. If you're looking for a property, you got to research it. Well, when you're looking for somebody to partner up for, you've got to research that too. Don't take people at their just saying that they've done things, or especially if you're working with people that are doing contracting and things like that. You really need to check the work. You really need to contact the people that are living in the house to confirm that they actually did do the work. And like, there's a lot of scams going on today, and that's the biggest problem of it. So it's really doing your own homework so that you make sure that everything that you're doing is going to work out in your favor, or in both your favors. It's all about doing that. But even though that, let's hear you, that you do fail, and I just want to put this out there, that you can still recover. So even though that my property, that I had to redo all the work all over again and redo it, I still recovered. I still sold. I kept it for a couple of years. I rented it. And then where it came to a part where I really saw that I was going to get the most that I could for that piece of property, I sold it because there was many different reasons, but I got my money out and then some, a lot more some. So, if it's bought at the right time and the right thing, it's all, and also a lot of it is in the purchase, right? Knowing what you're really buying. And that's the whole idea, is learning from the buy and building yourself forward.
Now let's go into the future a bit. So, and feel free to share your goals if you'd like to. So, what is that big goal that you want to achieve, that 5, 10 year goal, and then going on to the changes that you're doing in yourself right now to be able to get to those big goals.
Well, it's time for me to continue on, and yeah, I'm looking to do a little bit bigger and better things for myself. I do believe in creating wealth, and for me, the biggest journey right now is I want to get into multifamily dwellings. So, what do I do before? I have the same practice. So I found myself a mentor, somebody who has built an incredible portfolio, who's doing it, is successful at doing it. And I'm going in now and I'm learning from her and building my wealth now by starting to learn from that and to educate myself on what is out there, because the market has definitely changed. And there's a lot of things that people are feeling scared and saying to themselves, well, I can't get into this now. I've lost my time. There's no opportunities. But I don't believe in that. I believe that there are opportunities. You got to look for them, and then they present themselves. So that, my goal is to start, with my, now I'm in the process of looking for property and starting to, and educating myself at the same time. And then I'll do what Glenda always does. She jumps in and she learns as she goes along.
I love it. And yeah, because you don't get stuck in the analysis paralysis, which is great, which is, at least for me, that was a big learning experience, that not getting stuck with it. And same thing now, it's just like, okay, go, and you can still learn everything on the way. Like you said, there's always pre-learning. And I think that's great that, like you said, you're always educating yourself. Because sometimes also some people feel that, oh, I have all this experience. Why educate more? And it's just like great that you're sharing, like, even, like, even though you've been in real estate, but it's a new strategy, let's go learn, right? Like, why start at the bottom when a mentor can just bring you up and get you moving faster and better, right? Like, they'll help you kind of iron out all those mistakes that you'd probably go through and not have to go through those. And you're probably going through bigger ones, but at least you're dealing with the things that don't matter, right? Or not that don't matter, but as in you're getting things done quicker.
So what I learned from all my struggles of what I went through when I first started is that there is a way through everything. So, I have this thing that I've learned through the years, when things happen in my life and I get really flustered or upset or something about it, I don't react to it. So I have a promise that I've made to me, and that is when something has fallen by the wayside, or even a disagreement, a lot of times I will sleep on it, and then the next day brings in a new light, because my energy is different from in the next day. And then you figure out how you can go about that change that you need to make, how you can adapt maybe something that hasn't worked and adapt into something else. Maybe you need to start learn to reach out to others that have done what you've done. And that's the wonderful thing, is when you get into groups of people that have other investors who have gone through this. One thing is forming together groups with people, and you have friendships with them, that you can phone up somebody, because we're not against each other. We're here to support each other. So we can phone each other and say, look, I got this happening right now. Have you ever saw something like this? What do you think? And, it's just like a mastermind. We would come together, and somebody else can say something. And even if it's not what you want, it all of a sudden it tweaks something in your own mind. And you go, oh my gosh, I didn't even think of that. It's crazy, but it's
Yeah, it's great to
wonderful.
be a part of positive communities that are there to, like, move together and help each other out and be successful together. Because especially a lot of, at least for me, what I've seen in the past is like these these views on that you have to do it solo, that people are there just to push you down. At least in our communities, we don't see that, right? Like, it's actually, we're here to help each other and try to grow together, be it as partners or not. Like, even if you're not partners, like you said, it's not about the rivals. It's about, let's fly together. Let's do things together, and it's just so much more fun when there's other people in the same journey as you.
It's also very important that you're always mindful of the people that are around you, though, because, like, I am very cognizant of the groups and the people that I am involved with, but I also am very cognizant of the fact of other people's energies and how they talk and what they say and so forth. So if you are feeling like you are having anybody who's knocking you down, making you reevaluate your own self and your decisions as things like that, then, and they're not doing the work, then you're not, married to that person. Unless you're actually married to that person, then that's another story. Let's talk about that part. But you know what I mean? You got to look that in life, you got to do what works for you. And I believe that it all also stems from the heart. So I'm very much a heart-centered person, and I'm not out to hurt anybody, but at the same time, I'm very protective of myself too, because, when you become too open-hearted, you also can open yourself up. And, that's been many lessons through my life as well, but it helps you grow, it helps you get stronger, and it helps you get a whole lot wiser. So it's,
100%. And even something that you said actually before, which I also love, which goes with this, is like you said, sleeping on it, right? We all sometimes get stuck in the mode of when things get busy, that it's just like you don't have time and you have to make that decision right now. The reality is not like that at
yeah.
all. You really do have days, even weeks, to sometimes even months to actually make a decision. So take those opportunities, like you said, either sleep on it, think of it, or talk to different people, get different people's opinions, right? Because when we're in the mess of it all,
Right.
you don't see a solution sometimes because you're just like so just in it that someone from the outside can just say, "Oh, do this," and it can be the most simplest thing to do. And you just never thought of it because you're just stuck in the grind of getting things done. So I love that you said that. I did want to reiterate again because I think that's a great tip is that just take that time. Something's going on, look into it more, figure it out, see what's going on. And don't feel like, because I do feel that this happens, at least for me, it's happened many times that we think like decisions need to be made right now. And that's not really the reality of things.
I think, yeah, generally in life, majority of things can wait a 24-hour period. If you're looking at, even if you have if you're put an offer in on a property, there's all sorts of things, again, you can make good choices by knowing what your values are. Everything is a value in life, and you've got to figure out, if you're jumping into let's say on a property where you have a deadline, look at your numbers, look at your checklist. Those are the things. So if you've got to make a decision, if everything is on that checklist, if everything, your values are being met, then you can be comfortable to make the decision that maybe you have to make and not hold off on it. We're not in the times like where we were a few years ago, where there were bidding wars and people were jumping into things without being able to think. We're not at that point. Mind you, there are times, I look up deals, and sometimes there's a deal that you need to, and you could lose the deal because you've waited too long. But I'm also a believer that, if it's meant to be, it will be.
100%, 100%. Any final comments that you'd like to let our viewers know about or share any final recaps for the audience?
So I'm now putting out a program that I'm going to be working with people. I'm mainly working with women 40 plus that have had those knockdowns, because this is how I started out in my life. It was that knockdown that I started looking at myself. And that's when I decided to start investing in myself, and then going and becoming an investor in real estate and doing it. But it's a time in life at that point when, I've lost my confidence, my self-esteem, and so forth. And I had to recreate and rebuild myself. And I know that there's a lot of people out there that happens to. You go through a divorce, you've been through a narcissistic relationship, and it knocks you down. And then you're sitting back and you think you're not good enough, you can't do it, and all the rest of it. But I'm here to tell you, if I can do it, so can you. So now I want to start mentoring people into building and finding their first property. I want to start allowing you to build wealth, because it's the only way. If there's so many people that make money online and do all sorts of other things, for me, I've always been lucky, and not lucky, but successful, because I do the work on 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 learning about the process. And it is a process of going through. And now I want to educate you with what I learned. As I continue on and moving up my ladder, I would love people to start. So if you're interested, just DM me and let's have a talk, and let's see if you're right for our connection, our group, and move forward. The whole idea is in life is you got to take chances, and the most important chance you got to take is in yourself. And if we don't do for ourselves, then what are you living for? So get off the hamster wheel, take the chance, start doing something for yourself. And it all starts with just starting to believe in yourself. And that's what I'm about.
I love
Thank you.
it. And if you want to learn more about Glenda, actually you can go into REFAM. Her whole profile's been set up there, so you can see everything, learn more about her. She will be tagged on here too, so you'll even be able to see what she's up to on in her Instagram profile. You can DM her if you have personal questions you want to ask her or get some mentorship. And yeah, and she'll be tagged on here. So if that's what you're looking for, and if you want to hear a little bit more about me, you want to see what I'm up to, or you want to just keep on track of the shows I got going on, that you can either follow me here on Instagram, so you can see the shows. On ReFam, you can check me out, my profile. Glenda, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been a real pleasure.
Awesome. We'll see everyone in the next episode. Bye, Glenda. Bye,
Take
everyone.
care. Thank you.